Hello, and welcome to episode 179 of The Joy of Coding. My name's Mike Conley. How are you? It's been a little while. I haven't been streaming for the past couple of weeks due to travel and time conflicts where I had to take a meeting that really was inconveniently placed. But I'm back now, and hopefully we've got a couple of episodes weekly. A regular weekly cadence will resume. That's what I'm hoping for. Hi. Let's just get down to business. There's nothing much else to say here. Hold on, let me just switch over to my screen. Right, today is June 5th, 2019. A reminder, no plant survives breakfast. I say this every time. For the folks who are new, though, I just want you to know that none of what you're about to see is pre-scripted or really pre-planned beyond just the vaguest sense of things that I want to do today. This is very much a fly by the seat of your pants kind of situation. I might get stuck, things might go wrong, I might not get anything done today. I'm trying to capture software development in the raw. Who knows? And you're with me for like an hour and a half, so we'll see what we get. The other thing I want to note is that there is an episode guide to The Joy of Coding. And if you're watching this series, maybe you're watching this recording in the future, hello future, and you want to know what I covered during this episode, then you should check out the episode guide. And that episode guide is linked here in the agenda, which I forgot to mention. So let me backstep a little bit here. The agenda is what we're looking at right now, and the agenda is something that you have access to. Depending on where you're watching The Joy of Coding, there will be a link. For example, on YouTube, in the video description, there's a link to the agenda there, down here. And if you're watching this on Air Mozilla, then there's a link to the agenda in the handout section this way, this direction. And if you're watching this on Twitch, well, Twitch doesn't really have a place for me to put links, so I'll drop it into the Twitch chat right now. Agenda. Boom, there it is in the Twitch chat, and you can follow along. So, to reiterate, there is an episode guide. You should check it out. Smurf D is a prolific contributor. He probably has a bunch of pull requests for me that I haven't gotten to yet. In fact, maybe we should take a look at the episode guide just to see if there's any updates in the queue. Yeah, 2 pull requests. Let's check them out. I requested some changes. What was it? I think this is episode 1. That's episode 176. There's actually the link to the 177. So the video frame shows episode 176 in May 1st. So I kind of trust you. Okay, good call. Good call. So there was a problem in how Air Mozilla linked to it, apparently. Oh, it says episode 177 here. Okay. So, let's view the changes. May 8th. Yeah, good call. Let's merge this in. Thank you, Smurf D. We'll say thanks. Yeah, it was, I guess I must have been wrong. I must have looked at the wrong link. I don't know what happened there. And then there was another pull request for episodes 178. Let's check it out. Checking for that merge compatibility. There is a conflict, but maybe we can resolve it ourselves. So episode 178 is going in here. I think that's where the conflict is because 177 is missing, but he links to the episode on Air Mozilla. Let's make sure that's the right episode. 178, yep, and then the agenda. Hopefully this is episode 178. And it's not linking. Now that's because I actually have disabled local storage on my local instance of Nightly because of a weird bug that I was experiencing that is fixed in today's Nightly. But I haven't actually updated yet, so I have to use, there are some sites where I have to use like Safari. So episode 178, yep, that's right. And these are the topics I covered. Make browser child ready for fission, try to understand test failure. Did you see the green 404 error pig? Not sure what that meant. Green 404 error pig. Oh, is that maybe you mean this. If you go to like an MDN page that doesn't exist, then you get this. It's one of the Tum Beasts by Matthew Inman of the oatmeal fame. Notice how the eyes, I think, follow the mouse? Do they? Not really. I think that they're just moving at random. But these are like free to use status mascots that you can use. So there you go. Debugging using LLDB, digging down into Zool window. All right, so that looks like an absolutely fine pull request. So I'm gonna merge that, but I have to deal with this merge conflict. So I'm gonna resolve the conflicts. I think this is a pretty neat feature of oh no. Probably relies on local storage, which I've disabled. Well, it's not loading. I might have to merge this. Oh, no, there it is. There it is. It was just GitHub being a bit finicky. Okay, so I'm going to put episode 178 after 177. That looks right to me. Let's mark that as resolved, and we'll commit the merge. And we'll merge. And I'll say thanks. Booyah. Smurfy says there was some issue with one of the pull requests. I think I replied that the video was actually the link. It was just named wrongly. Oh, okay. And he was referring to that green guy on MDN. Cool, cool, cool. So I think we're good here. So now the episode guide. That's how the episode guide works. If you yourself have notes that you want to, like, this is pretty meta. We're hacking on the episode guide for the show itself. But if you yourself have notes that you want to add, send them my way. Send a pull request, and I'll happily merge them in. Could be anything. There's a lot of really interesting things going on in Firefox land, by the way. Yesterday was a big release where, if you didn't know, we turned enhanced tracking protection on by default for new users, and that's going to block, I believe, third-party cookies and trackers by default for new users. And for existing users, we're going to start rolling out enhanced tracking protection as the default, and hopefully get up to 100% sometime in the next couple weeks. We're doing a slow rollout just so that, you know, widespread breakage. We like, because users have crazy customizations. We have no idea what sort of things that they've got out there. So we're gonna slow roll it and keep our eyes open for web compatibility bugs, because this is a pretty big change. Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. More privacy, and that happened yesterday. Also, Lockwise and Monitor and Send got sort of promoted, so the whole family of Firefox products. Enough shilling for Mozilla. Let us talk about what we're going to do today. One of the things I want to do is I want to context menu, Fission. I got some review feedback on a patch, and I wanted to apply that review feedback, or at least I wanted to read the review feedback, and I wanted to like react to it a little bit. So these were the inline comments. Some of these are just, it looks like they're questions. Let me zoom in a little bit. Some of these are questions, and so I'm gonna have to kind of review what's going on here. Let me check out the patch that he's talking about. That's this one, make basic context menu actions fission compatible, which is here. SmurfD asks, creating a new profile would get the feature? Yes, I believe so. You can also just enable it by default if you go into the menu. I'm talking about the enhanced tracking protection. If you go into the menu and choose content blocking and just choose strict content blocking. You can also choose a custom content blocking and choose exactly what you want to block: trackers, cookies, cryptominers, fingerprinters. Yeah, so you can check that out. All right. So we've got this patch checked out, and now I want to take a look at what Neil is talking about. So he says on line 46 in this method here, there's also called a context menu child get target and browser-based content.js that I think needs to be updated. Did I not update that one? Let's find out. Get target. Oh, so there is. There's one right here. Maybe I should be looking for all the places where context menu child .get target is called. Plugin child, which I believe I did update. Child right here. I updated them. And then, yeah, content.js needs to be updated. So that's a good call from Neil. So I'm going to open that up first. Content.js. Is that the right one? Browser-based content, content.js. Browser-based content, content.js. This is the right one, but I'm not seeing the line. It's possible that the reason why I didn't remove it is because this is a relatively new addition. Oh, no, it isn't. What the? So where did I oh, I removed it in an earlier patch, I'll bet. That's what I did. I'll bet you here. Yeah. So I can actually close that issue and tell Neil that I removed it in this earlier patch. So that was in content.js. Let me link to this. Okay. So, whew. I'm gonna say it's done. This the call you're referring to got removed already in an earlier patch in this series. See this link. Okay. The old code didn't either, but do we need to check if content menus.get browsing context is null? Note that the new code only assigns to the map after the context menu event is received, whereas the old code assigns to the map during the constructor. I think I did that on purpose. Like, I think I tried to set, like, I don't think the browsing context existed at the time of the JS window actor constructor. Like, I couldn't get access to it. Do you need to check if context menus.get? I can certainly put in a null check and throw an exception if we're trying to get at a context menu that's not there. Note that I'm pretty sure that the only time a context menu child is created, yeah, it gets created on a context menu event anyways. I believe, as I recall, the reason I moved setting the actor into the weak map into the event handler was because during the constructor, because within the constructor, I couldn't access the browsing context. Also note that the actor is by default is the context menu actor menu pair of actors is designed to initialize designed to initialize when the context menu event is fired. I.e. when the user requests a context menu. So hopefully by that time, so hopefully that's roughly the same lifetime semantics as the original actor pair, original legacy actor pair. But I can certainly put in an error check or a null check there, and I think that's a fine idea. So let us do that here. Get target. Let actor equals context menus dot get browsing context. Actor, throw new error, can't find context menu actor for browsing context with ID, browsing context.id. With ID. Otherwise, do this. Actor. I guess we can do the same thing here. Let actor equals context menu. And then turn actor and actor. Oh, well before what we were doing is returning null in the event that the actor didn't exist. So I guess that's what we'll do here. So I can probably just go back to what we were doing before. Okay, so that's done. What were his other comments? This .doc shell can now be used. Oh good, yeah, there's a shorter mechanism for getting the doc shell. Browsing context.doc shell. Two places where I can just go this.doc shell. That's very nice. Yeah. Done. What is this conditional check added for? Page menu is only designed, the page menu module, which is the stuff that implements the HTML menu, HTML5 context menu. is the stuff that implements the context menu. Implements the context menu. HTML5. Now deprecated HTML5 context menu. API. Seems to only work in remote browsers. Remote browsers. Can I show why that is? Or should, like, we similar before this patch and before we for this patch series, this was being done inside of a conditional block that checked is remote. I could certainly move this change back into what was the revision where I merged that stuff into D32757. Certainly. Use certainly again elsewhere. Certainly. Change back into, in fact, that's just what I'll do. Okay, so I want to put this conditional, this is going to be an interesting exercise. I want to put this change into an earlier revision in the series. So let's finish the rest of the feedback and then we'll do that. And then we'll also run the tests. So let me amend this first. I won't mark that one done yet. And then what were the other pieces of feedback? Is this .manager different than this .manager browsing context current window global? It might not be. Let's find out. What's a good way of finding out? Let's use the browser toolbox and use the, oops, update must have applied. Oh man, come on. It's not compatible. That's awful. This .manager. What is this .manager? Let's use Searchfox. We're gonna look for manager on the window actor, and it's gonna be the window global parent. And no, there is no difference. No, there's no difference at all. Thanks for helping me find where I was chasing my tail. Okay, so I can fix that. Context menu parent. And the reason I knew that, is because the type of manager is a window global parent, which is the same type as current window global. And they must be referring to the same thing because there's only one window global parent per browsing context, and the manager has a browsing context. So basically I went like this dot current window global dot browsing context dot current window global. So all these like one-to-one mappings, I was like you to you, back to you, which is a bit of a waste. So fix that up. And so let's fix that up. Context menu parent. I can just use this dot manager, I guess. Okay. Done. And I think that's all of the feedback. Okay, so I'm going to do another amend. Now let's take a look at our tree. Okay, so I'm going to want to rebase this, this, and this on top of it. These other two are just kind of like work in progresses that I can probably just abandon this one. Actually, I'm gonna prune that one because that ended up being a you know, a bit of wasted work because I didn't need to do that port just yet. Okay, so now that I've amended this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to context menu child, and I want to move this change into an earlier revision. So that's interesting. Let's take a look at context menu child, all the changes that went into it. There's like a bunch. There are all of these changes. And one of them, hopefully if we're lucky, yeah, it's pretty like self-contained. So I can actually undo that change like this. I'm going to copy that to the clipboard, and I'm just going to do that. So now if I amend that, the custom menu items change shouldn't really, there shouldn't be any difference. So custom menu. Oh, so I've got another new line there. I'm going to get rid of that new line. Okay. And so now, because it's not red or green, that's Mercurial, the diff viewer's way of telling me, hey, like that's a thing that didn't change. Custom menu items. See, it didn't change at all. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back a little bit in the history. I'm going to go to this one, 562658. And now that's where I'm going to put the change back in. Oh man, I copied a thing. I have to go back and find it. Where was it? It was this. Okay, so there we go. That should be the same. Yep, okay, that looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to amend this change, and then I'm going to do the whole rebase. I'm going to rebase the patch we were just working on top of it, and then all of the other patches on top of that one patch. So this is the first one. We're going to rebase that. Here, let me pump up the font so you can see exactly what I'm doing. And I'll clear, and we'll look at the graph. I'm going to rebase this one on top of this one, because this is what we were working on before, and this is what we moved that change out of, and we amended it into this one. So now I'm going to rebase this one on top of this one, and that shouldn't conflict. Hope it doesn't conflict. Oh, come on! Why are you conflicting? Of course it conflicts as soon as I say it's not going to conflict. I think that deserves a sound. Okay, context menu child. What happened? So it was like destination. Wait, that's very strange. Let me take a look here. What did I have in here? Send async message. Supposed to be that, and then that makes sense. Oh, there's another patch that I need. Okay, Rebase abort. That's why. There was another patch that I need to put on top of it first. This one, stop sending the kapow. So that's the first one. In fact, let's send both of them. Rebase that one to that one on top of tip. Merge, merge, merge. Cool. So now I should have, yeah, our two changes on top of one another. And now I'm going to rebase these other things on top of it. I can rebase this one to this one. Now, I don't want these ones. These are the old obsolete versions. You can tell because of the X's here in the graph. The stars are the ones that are like orphaned. They have an instability orphan, and this one's obsolete. That's why it's got the X. It's obsolete. It was rewritten. But these ones are orphans, and they need to be rebased. So I'm going to rebase that one to this one on top of tip. That rebase is done. So now I'm going to check out the tip. I'm going to build, and then I'm going to run the context menu tests, and then I'm going to push it up for a re-review. And then we're going to work on something else. What are we going to work on? Well, a couple things come to mind. There's more fission-related things that I want to do. Fission is kind of taking precedence in my work queue over picture-in-picture and performance stuff because we have this like demo that we're trying to do in a couple of weeks. Let me see if I can pull up the calendar on my phone so I can give you a sense of how much time we've got. So not this week, not next week, but the week after is whenever we want to be able to we're getting together in Whistler, a bunch of Mozillians, and we want to demonstrate stuff working with the with fission. And we've already got a chunk of stuff working. Like we've got drag and drop working now. Neil Deacon worked on that, and we've got the browser, the permit unload stuff, which I think I did partially on the stream. We were talking about process contiguous subframe routes, if you remember that. That landed. So what are the things that we want to do? Let me see if I can pull up a list of the stuff that we wanted covered. One sec. I'm going to pull up the list over here because I'm not sure what the nature of this document is, whether or not it's a public document. Okay. Okay, so there is a thing that we can do that would probably be good, which is to port the prompter to Fission, and we can do that next, or we can try to start doing that next. So what's the prompter all about? So the prompter is this thing that is like this is a component that handles basically this. The in tab, what we call tab modal prompts. We handle those right now at the top level, but even if a subframe calls alert, then at the topmost frame we show the, that's where we show the alert. Let me show you an example. Subframe demo. I wonder if there's like an easy subframe demo. Is there like a sub iframe example? Just want like a simple iframe example. Don't allow push notifications. Okay, so here's an iframe. This web page blows. html.com. Why are you spamming me so much? I want to choose this. So now I'm in the console scope of this iframe. Before I was in the global one. Now I'm in this one right here. So if I look at my location, I'm actually this YouTube embed document. So if I do alert test, so the topmost frame gets the alert. The page at YouTube, you get to see that the URL is from YouTube though. The frame is YouTube saying it. And so that's what I want to get working. And the reason for that is because we worked on the browser child stuff and the process contiguous frame roots, or subtree roots, or what do you want to call it. And the in the event that a out of process subframe sets an before unload event handler and decides to try and prevent the default and stop an unload or show the user the dialog to determine whether or not an unload should occur, we need to actually show that dialog. And right now with Fission, we don't. We just like spin the event loop inside the content process, which is pretty awful. So I'd like to sort that out. Where are we in our compile? Not a very good spot. This is going to take a little while. You know what's even better is if I just build with artifact. Maybe that'd be way faster because all of my changes are JavaScript. So let's see if we can get an artifact build here going, and then we can just get moving. So the prompter stuff, I can show you that there's already a pre-existing patch where I started to fiddle with porting the prompter, and we can take a look at that. There's this patch down here, port remote prompt. And the part of the problem was that you could have multiple prompts stacked on top of one another. Like if we go back to our iframe example, you can like have the subframe, I think, do an alert test. And I believe you can also have the parent frame do an alert. Hello. And so like they're stacked one on top of the other, and we need to like keep those in mind. And so we have to like have a mapping of prompts with prompt IDs. And so that was the first part. And then the second part is that there's this kind of wacky thing we were doing in the content process where we would call WinUtils on the topmost document. We would say WinUtils enter modal state, and that's important. If DOM_WIN is reloaded while we're showing a remote modal dialog, it's possible to detach DOM_WIN from the tree and make it impossible to reach its scriptable top, aka window top. To prevent this, make sure to enter and exit modal state beginning from top. So really what we want to do is enter the modal state for every browser, every frame, I think, leading down to the one that actually spawned the modal. I think that's the case. I want to understand exactly how enter modal state works though. And while we're before we do that though, we've got our done build. Let's run our context menu tests real quick. What's going on here? JavaScript error. Singletons is null in actor manager child. And G context menu is null. Owner doc is undefined. Singletons is null. There's a lot of these type errors. Singletons is null in actor manager child 280. What is going on? Actor manager child 280. 280. When we go through the child singleton actors, what? Singletons is null. So getting the singleton actors is not working out. Why is that? Oh, because there's this missing. There's just a lot broken. There's a missing closing brace in actor manager parent for some reason. 129. Aha. What happened here? Child. Oh. There's a missing brace here. That's crazy. How did this ever build properly before? Browser element parent, browser element child. So let's build that again. Where did that change even occur? Absorb. Make basic context menu actions fission compatible. Okay. So let's build that again. Boo-doo-doo. Okay. Let's run our tests now. Yay, all passed. 4,227 checks passed. Feels pretty good. Context menu's working. So let's push this up for review again. And then we can start on this prompt thing. So Moz Fab submit. Just gonna submit the whole thing. Ooh, version 1.26 of Moz Fab is available. What things come with that? Let's check that out. What showed up in the new version? Releases. 1.26. Do not query Fabricator with an empty list. And that's it. Error while reading IDs while pushing the stack with duplicate revisions. Okay. Well, that's good. So I can use mozfab update to self-update. Hey, so the folks who are hanging around in... Oh, so some questions from IRC. Creating a new profile? Are you using Nightly right now? Yes, I am using Nightly right now. Akris asks, in Nightly, when I open menu and move mouse over restore previous session, new private window is still highlighted. And when I left click, Firefox restores the previous session. Restore previous session, new private window is still highlighted. When I left click, Firefox restores the previous session. That sounds like, or he wants to know if I have the same on my system. Well, I can check. Which operating system are you on, Akris? I'm going to guess, based on past discussions, some flavor of Linux would be my guess. Yep, some Linux. So what I can do is let me sign into my Windows box where I've got a copy of Ubuntu, and you're running Nightly, you say? Okay. Well, let's see. What can I do about that? Let's CC8 or SSH into my Linux box, and I'll get an artifact build going over there, and I can test it out. Projects. What do I have there? Not much. I'm gonna prune that stuff. We're gonna pull. It's been a long time since I pulled. It's been like a month, it looks like, since this thing's been updated on my Linux box. So I'm gonna pull from central, do an artifact build. Pull central. Fast network. But despite the fast network, it's still taking like 15 seconds to download all the changes because it's a lot of changes at the course of a month. Nightly changes a lot. We got some new change sets. That's very nice. 17,973 changes. That's amazing. Now let us use artifact build. Mock clobber. Build with artifact. It doesn't exist. Moz config. Oh, I'm already in artifact build. Okay, build. So we're gonna let that build in the background, and then we can test Akris's bug. Wow, there's a lot of chat going on in IRC right now. What was it you were trying to do? I have a Nightly running on Linux as well. You might need to fix the build, though, if it will fail when looking for libclang. We'll see. Question about developer tool resources within Firefox. This is from JustCuz Twitch, from the Twitch chat. JustCuz asks, hey Mike, question about developer tool resources within Firefox. Does this functionality add a noticeable amount of overhead even when not being used? I'm curious if a build without the dev tooling has been considered as a light/non-dev user version of the product. From what I know about the DevTools code, it is extremely lazy code in that unless you have the DevTools open, it's inert. It does nothing. When you have it open, certainly things are going to get bogged down a little bit. In particular, the rendering of all of the DevTools stuff, so this thing, actually occurs in the parent process. This is all rendered in the parent process. And that's a problem because especially whenever you have a web page that's sending lots of network requests or something, the rendering of the updates in here about the network requests slows down the parent because it has to like add them to a table and stuff, and so and then draw these little graphs, and that bogs down the parent process, and the parent process is responsible for actually doing the network requests. When a child process, makes a network request, it's marshalling it through the parent process. So that's one of the reasons why having the network monitor open impacts page load time. Not only because I believe it's easier to disable the cache, and sometimes people do. I think the cache is mostly disabled by default whenever you have the network monitor open, but in general, just the rendering of the network monitor adds overhead on top of it. And there is a, I believe, a project. It's going to take a while, but there's a project to migrate, kind of like E10S for DevTools, to move the rendering of the DevTools pane into a separate process. So hopefully that answers your question, just cause. For the most part, I'd say that DevTools is inert. If you never open it, it's not going to have an impact, or it's negligible impact. Okay, so now that we've got this build here, let's see if we can reproduce Ocris's bug. How am I going to do that? I'm going to sign into my Windows box where my Linux VM is running. Let me do that off screen for a second because I think my email's open. That's me typing in a password using my Ocris technique. Okay, let me close my email. The Ocris technique is to avoid side channel attacks where someone's able to use the audio from my high quality microphone here to determine what I typed in. Okay, so I have a my VM here. Let me pull this aside so you can see it. So let me make that big again, and then we're gonna run the instance of Mozilla Firefox that I just built. Sorry, it's over here in projects, Mozilla Central. So here is the instance, the artifact instance of Firefox. And so I need to configure it and make sure it's configured to not restore my session from last time. Okay, good. It's not doing that. And now I'm going to go to some web pages, basically create a session. Let's see, YouTube, and then we'll go to Reddit, and maybe to The Guardian. Here, I'll click on the link. So we've got a session here, and I'm going to click on the close window button here. That's going to close my tabs, and now I don't care about that stuff. I'm going to rerun the same profile, and then I'm going to go over here to the menu, and I'm going to go to restore previous session, and it works. So Ocris says maybe it depends also on the window manager. I'm using i3. I've never even heard of that window manager. Let's see, i3 window manager. This is a tiling window manager. So what I'm going to suggest, Ocris, is that you file a bug. This sounds like something that's going to be very Linux specific. So the right place to file that bug, I'll actually drop a link into the Twitch chat for you. But a new bug under, all right, let me close the VM window and I'll show you where you can file the bug with the information you need. It's under widget GTK. Single colon, core widget GTK. So here you go, Ocris. Booyah. So our patches have gone back up for review. If we go back over to here, we can take a look at the whole stack and see that the thing that we wanted to sort of have included in here, this conditional, has been put in here, and the conditional has been moved out from here. So I can probably mark that as done now. Where is that? Done. Marked as done. So now I'm gonna submit. Oh, done. Yeah, I put that error in there as well. So now I'm gonna submit. Hide all inlines, hide older inlines, hide done inlines. Oh, that's handy. didn't know we could do that. So I'm going to submit these. 2 unsubmitted. What are unsubmitted? Submit. There we go. There we go. I actually didn't realize that we could do that up here. Hide done inlines. That's great. That's so much better. Okay, so that work is done. Now we can work on the prompter. Before I do that, I actually wanted to bring something up. We're talking right now. The folks I'm talking with most are in the Twitch chat, and that's great. I'm happy to talk to the Twitch chat people. I wanted to bring your attention to something. There is an effort underway to migrate Mozilla off of running or off of using IRC as its primary synchronous, asynchronous chat infrastructure. There are a number of reasons for that. If you're curious, I'm going to link to the blog post. Mike Hoy is leading up this effort to find a better chatting mechanism. Let me drop a link to that. I'm going to put that actually in the agenda today. Synchronous text blog post and moving off of IRC. Now, that means that irc.mozilla.org is probably going to go away sometime in the future, not for a little while, but we are, I believe, planning on moving off of IRC. And there are a bunch of reasons for that. I highly recommend reading that blog post for the rationale. I love IRC, but the internet is not the way it was back in the day. And having just walked an intern through connecting onto IRC, the pain points are really stark. Like, if you really want to refresh your memory on, realize how awful IRC is, connect someone who's never used, sit next to someone who is, perfectly comfortable with a computer and get them onto IRC and just go through that experience with them. And you will find, if you're like me, you will find that it is just a silly experience. And there are better choices. One of the things that we are I think Mike Hoy and the evaluation he's doing, I think he's talked about evaluating. Yeah, he's talking. We're being crazy open as usual about the process of choosing a new chat mechanism, and I've been reading these, but it's been a while. I don't really have them in my head. There are a number being evaluated. I don't know if he talked about Zulip, Twilio, Discord, Matrix. There's a bunch of choices out there, and myself, I'm not sure what I want to do. I don't have to do what the rest of the Mozilla org has to do. I mean, if this is just for my live hacking, I might want to try my own thing. So one of the things I'm considering is moving or running my own Matrix server, and then hosting my live hacking channel there on my own Matrix server. And then hopefully there's a way I can bridge it to Twitch. I need to figure that out still. I don't know if anyone here on the chat has ever used Matrix before or knows whether or not there is a Matrix to Twitch bridge. I'll just Google that or DuckDuckGo that right now. Well. A Matrix Twitch bridge. A Puppet bridge between Matrix and Twitch. So I might be able to bridge the two channels. Akra says, anything that doesn't require email or social media login or reCAPTCHA might be acceptable to me and works in console. I don't know if there's a command line, a terminal client for Matrix. Clients. Let's see. Riot, Quaterno Fractal, Platform. Is there WeChat terminal, Go terminal, GoMux, WeChat Matrix is a terminal one. What's that all about? Any screenshots? WeChat has sensible chat client, Matrix, WeChat Matrix Python plugin for WeChat lets WeChat communicate over the Matrix protocol. I don't even know really what WeChat is. but it does look like it's some kind of terminal chat client. SmurfD's like, when you say Matrix, you're not talking about the movie, I assume. What is the Matrix? Yeah, I'm talking about this, matrix.org, which is a communications protocol. It's decentralized. It can be end-to-end encrypted. It has history. It retains history, which is really nice. It has better like moderation tools than IRC. But it's the encryption and decentralization I find is very interesting. And there are bridges to all sorts of services, including IRC. Like I could, if the IRC, if there are folks who desperately want to keep IRC going, we could like have a channel on EFnet or something, and then I could bridge to it, maybe. But this is something that I've been looking at least for myself. This is not to say that Mozilla is going to switch to this. I definitely don't read into that. This is my own personal interest in checking out Matrix and trying it out and running my own server. And I always found I found it was quite interesting how it works. Like there's this neat little demonstration where you've got like these 3 home servers, and you got these like 3 users of these home servers, and then like the way messages propagate is a message goes from Alice to the home server. Alice's home server like signs it, and then it's distributed to the other home servers for people who are in the same room, and then they validate the message, and then the clients receive it, and then there's like conflict resolution. So like, boom, conflict resolution or something. And then like a fork occurs, and then it somehow finds equilibrium. But it's what I'm looking at. I'm not going to do this overnight. It's probably going to take me a while to get it kind of set up and evaluate it. I might bail out. I might decide that Matrix is the wrong choice, or it's not something I really want to use. Who knows? But I just want to put the notice out there that I'm probably going to switch away from IRC sometime in the future for the live hacking back channel. I'll try and make sure that whatever it is that we end up choosing for a chat, maybe we can bridge to IRC for the people who really want to do that, and that there are plenty of command line terminal clients. So let's talk about prompt. Let's do that now that we've done this stuff. I'm going to rebase the changes I had already done on top of tip. SmurfD's like, add blog to the agenda. I kind of did. I kind of linked the synchronous text blog post, but maybe there's like a category. Maybe if I is he categorizing any of these? Yeah, IRC probably is. It's probably a good category. So maybe follow this category. Like if you have an RSS feed reader, I believe there is a feed reader, like an RSS feed right here of this one. Oh man, Mike Hoy, you need to get yourself a certificate. This is a not secure page. Anywho, let me close that and let's go back to what we were doing. So we've got our remote prompt thing. I've rebased it on top of our patches, and just check that out. No need to apologize, SmurfD. You are more than like, hey man, I miss things all the time. Come on. This is a place where people can make mistakes. It's okay. No worries. I'm gonna build faster, and I'm gonna take a look at this remote prompt thing again. The thing that really kind of worries me, or the thing that I feel like I need to understand the most, is the modal dialogue thing, which was, where was that? What the? Oh, I failed to add a thing. I have to add a remote prompt to browser modules Moz build. What? Browser modules Moz build. Remote prompt. Oh, probably because I named it remote prompt child or something. Or prompt child. And yeah, it's just gone. I've removed it. So we can just remove that. That's the problem there. If anyone here on in the Twitch chat has used Matrix before, let me know. I'm really curious about your experience. I've tinkered with it, but I've never like really used it to actually communicate with people. But if there are people out there watching this who have used it, I'm very curious about your experience. Okay, so we've got a build here working. I want to understand this. What was it? This thing, the enter modal state. I have to know what this is doing because I've removed it. Because you can't, this open remote prompt is going to run in the subframe where the dialog is being spawned, and you can't necessarily access the top because we might be in out of process iframe, so we can't access top window utils. So I need to, I mean, it's easy to send a message from the parent to the topmost frame to say, hey, enter modal state. But if enter modal state is designed to kind of filter down the tree to the document, like to every single frame, then I need to know that. Because then I need to broadcast to every single frame that we've entered the modal state. Enter modal state. Let's take a look how that works. DOM window utils. So all that really does is forwards to enter modal state on the outer window. What does that do? Ocris is like, I only know Matrix from IRC. All these net splits and reconnects on #Haskell. In that regard, IRC is much more stable, says Ocris. Interesting. Now, I wonder if that says more about the IRC bridge between you know, the Haskell community and IRC itself. Like maybe the bridge is unstable, or maybe the IRC, like I wouldn't be too quick to immediately place blame on Matrix itself. Maybe it is, maybe it's Matrix's problem, but it might also be the bridge. So what does it mean to enter the modal state on the outer window? So the first thing it does is it gets the topmost scriptable thing, that's the global. Right. And then we get the event state manager. And then we get the presentation shell of the event state manager. This is all about like clearing like an in-process drag or something, or capturing. Yeah, clearing drag. Release captured content, clear global active content, end drag session. Okay. And then we check to see if what our modal state depth is. So every window has this modal state depth number. And then we set the suspended doc to top doc, and then we suppress event handling on the topmost document. And then we suspend the topmost document. And what is that? Well, suppressing event handling, does that suppress? Yeah, that's going to enumerate the subdocuments and suppress event handling there too. Right, okay, so we do have to go down through all the frames. Now this is going to fail out if there's no top window. With a reachable top window. So there's the suppression of the event handling, and then there's the suspending. And what does suspending do? Suspending is going to call suspend on all the children. Right. And all of the workers get suspended. All the audio context gets suspended. So this is another case where we might have to message all of the roots of process contiguous subframes. That might be the best bet. But that's not going to work if we need to have the topmost. And I don't know if that's true. Like, I don't know if enter modal state is going to work on a subframe where top doesn't exist. How can I test that? Oh, I have an idea. So what I'll do to test this is I'm going to use the actor that we just wrote for the context menu. In context menu child, in the handle event method here for the context menu event, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get access to the window. This dot content window, I think. Content window. Yeah, this dot content window dot window utils, and then I'm going to call enter modal state on it. Enter modal state. And then I'm also then going to call leave modal state. And we're going to see if that throws. So let's build that. I'll use Fission user. Here's another screw up in browser glue, line 42. So just some sloppiness. Line 42. Where's my, I need my comma there, yo. And now it's there. Let's reclaim some process cycles, shut down Safari. Okay, so we've got here our out of process subframes. So I'm not seeing any like console errors when I do the right click. So that means that the modal state entering is working. Now what happens if I don't leave that modal state? Let's find out. This is a great way of putting the browser into this weird position. So I'm going to put this subframe into this modal state. So like right now, for example, I can type. Now I'm going to put it in the modal state. Now I don't think I can type it all. Right, I'm in the modal state. Great, okay, so what this means is that, yeah, I can't even context menu click, that's great. Okay, what that means is that I should just be able to message all of the content, basically the process contiguous roots again, and call enter modal state. Prompt open. So here under open tab prompt, hold on a second, prompter, there's like message data URI, open prompt. Otherwise, we're going to open a modal window, and that's not going to work. Okay, so the only one that works, I think, for the remote case is remote prompt. We will have a URI. So I don't actually know if that's the thing I'm going to need to evaluate, whether or not open modal window will ever be exercised. But what I'll do is try this dot. Can I get it the browser enter modal state? I'll call that on the browser node. I'm going to call finally leave modal state, and then same for here, enter modal state, finally leave modal state. I might actually have to do that first. Probably not. I think I'll be all right. Leave modal state at the end there. And so now I'm going to define this method on the browser custom element. What I'm going to do is I'm going to base this work off of some work that Neil did recently, and that I gave a review, a positive review to. So I was browser tab child. I recently reviewed this stuff. So I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to apply it locally. I'm going to go back a change. I'm going to mozfab patch that, apply to here. Oh man, got 9 minutes left before this episode ends. Let's play a sound we haven't played in a while. Hurry! Yeah, it's been a while since I played that sound, but that stresses me out, that sound. Maybe that's why I don't play it. Browser glue rejection there. Browser glue, probably because I also added a new actor. Oh, it saved it to .rej instead of doing inline. All right, let's take this. These are just legit actors. And we'll do that. And we'll do that. And there we file sorted out. hg commit or hgdiff. What about the new files? I wonder if it's added those. She add browser actors, switch document direction child. I'm just going to add both. And browser tab parent. And then commit with this commit message. Okay. So now I'm going to rebase this top of tip. And the reason I wanted to base this stuff on top of what Neil wrote is because of where are the prompt? Oh, I might have to update to tip, that's why. Yeah, that's the problem. Browser glue. Now we've got our prompt thing right there. Great, great, great. Okay, so the reason I want that is because there's something that Neil wrote that I want to make use of. So I made it so that we call browser dot enter modal state. So now I have to enter like custom element, and I'm gonna add a new method here. Just add it right to the end. Enter modal state. What was the actor name? Probably send async. Send message to actor. Where's that example? Browser tab. I'm going to do it to the browser tab. I'm going to do it to the browser element, because browser elements can do this along with browser tabs. It's not just tabs that can spawn things, so browser element. Okay, so we're going to go back to custom element. I'm going to say that true. Enter modal state. Whoops. That's not what's supposed to happen. I'm supposed to say this dot send message to actor. That. Leave modal state. Browser leave modal state. Oh, wait. Here, enter modal state. Okay. And then under browser element, child, browser element child.jsm, switch case, enter modal state, case leave modal state, and I can get rid of the browser colon prefixes because we don't need those anymore. It's just a reflex. then what we're going to do is we're going to get at this dot window, content window, window utils dot enter modal state, and then leave modal state. Great. Then the last thing I want to do is where's the remote prompt parent. We're going to register a prompt, tab prompt. That might be enough. Let's see what happens now. If I go to, if I build this and just try and open a normal prompt, will it even work? What will break? That's what I want to know. Not even using the Fission account, just like alert test. Explosion, message manager not defined in prompter.jsm. Online, something or other. Message manager. Right. Open tab prompt. I had this whole like thing going on here with the actor. Open remote prompt. Oh, process type content. We should have entered here, open remote prompt. That's interesting. Browser, content toolbox, debugger, prompter.jsm, message manager. Why are we here? Open tab prompt. So let's try that again. Okay. Prompt. Oh, because, yeah, I'm calling message manager right there. That's the problem. Shouldn't be doing that. Prompt close. All of this can be removed. Leave modal state. All of that's being taken care of. Args. It'll be read by our caller. Oh, that's important. Prompt close. So prompt parent. On prompt close. Prompt close args. Prompt child needs to receive that. Oh, yeah, I haven't even implemented that part yet. Yeah, this is going to take some untangling. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this before the end of the episode. I think I'm going to cap it here. Hey, thank you so much for watching episode 179 of The Joy of Coding. I know it was a little while since we've been back here, and hopefully, you know, we're back in the rhythm of things, and I'll see you next week. That's the plan anyways, but hey, no plan survives breakfast. Who knows what'll happen? The joy of coding. Anything could happen. It's a crapshoot every time. You never know. So we'll see next week. So on that note, have yourselves a great week, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. Wait, there it is. See ya.